This is video 217. It's about the action pit, road, and play. Here it puts the position XY at 500, 500, which is the center of all patterns, because it's going to build a pattern from a PAT-L list. A PAT-L list consists of values that tell it how to draw a line segment. Here, PAT-L is saying use the PAT-L list to make a pattern. Next, it chooses a color, sets the rotation, size, and XY position for the pattern, and then it tells dots to make the dot pattern for the list in pattern. Normally, we use those dot lists to draw polygons, but in this time we're going to draw a line. Lines should have the Q value set for the quill size of the line. That is the width of the line. Here it's set to 3. Well, let's go see the line that was created. Here we see it. It first gave a value for this curve, then this straight line, then a value for this curve, and then this straight line. That's what PAT-L did. Next, the program says to put a value in the P control register, the value of 63. Well, let's go see what 63 is. It's this texture, followed by a lot of other textures. Next, it uses a for next loop to go from 0, I, to an I of 30, 5 at a time. Each time it goes through this loop, it prefetches a picture using PICT. What that will do is whatever value is in control register P, it will go get that picture. It won't display it, but it'll prefetch it so it's in memory when you want it to be displayed. Next, it sets up the 5 values necessary for a playlist. A playlist will put a picture on the screen at an XY value that has tall 60, in this case, wide 60, rotation 0, and size 50. You put all those 5 parameters for drawing the picture each time it goes around. And each time it goes around, it increases the value of the picture control register by 1. So it goes to the next texture, then the next texture. Alright, so it's going to put in the playlist the values necessary to draw each picture. Next, it sets the value of X, 650, and the value of Y to 325, and then it uses the pattern we made up here with the PAT-L list. It uses that pattern again to get the dots that would be for making a polygon, a line, and now we're going to see that the dot list can be used by the action road. If we were to draw the picture just at the dots that are in the pattern, it'll only draw it a few times. Now let's go and see what I mean by that. Well, the dots in the dots list are spaced apart, especially at this line. There's a dot here and a dot here. Then there's some dots going around the circle. Then there are just two dots here, one there, and at the other end of the line. So if we were going to draw something just at those positions, it would quickly jump here and quickly jump here. Well, back at the program here, road is going to take that dots list and make a position on it every 25 pixels. Every 25 pixels, no matter what it is, a curve or a straight line, it's going to put many positions along that long straight line. When it converts the dots list to a road, it'll tell us that there are M positions in that dot list. The dot list has two values for each position, the X value and the Y value. So the dots list is twice the length of M as to how many values it has. So here it calculates twice M. It sets N with M and then adds M to N. So N is twice M. That is how many values there are in the road list. Next it says move the 120 values at the beginning of road list to road list offset N. Well, you ask, why did it have to do that? Well, we're going to continue on first. Here, it's going to set the value of T between 0 and 1 less than M. 0, 1 less than M. And it's just going to keep going back and forth. Here, it multiplies T by 2. That is because there's an X value and a Y value for each of M. And it's going to use T to tell it what position of X and Y on the road list to use. So it's going to go from 0 to M and tell it which value, but T got doubled because there's two values. The next instruction says to play the playlist, 6 things in the playlist, put them at the position X and Y, offset T. Well, what happens when T is the highest possible position on the road? Well, once it plays the first one in the playlist, T's okay, but when it went to the next one, the road had to be there. In other words, there's going to be several playlists more that it has to play. That is why the beginning of the road list had to be put at the end of the road list. So the rest of the playlist had an XY position to play at. Well, let's go run it now. Now we see this is the playlist moving around. And although the one color looks to be the head of the train, actually the first box, you might say, picture, was the last one of this train. And then it went and drew the rest of them, going forward on the road. Right? That's hard to follow this idea, isn't it? It took this pattern, made a road out of it, and then made a playlist, which is all of these things you see going around the road, and used the action play to create this. Well, that is video 2 17.